difference there, before, as you noticed in the last couple of songs, I was playing in the clawhammer style. And that was before this man Earl Scruggs came along, and along the same time, there was 2 or 3 other folks, and they were wearing picks on their fingers. And the picks really help you to play a lot faster. They reduce friction, and you're able to create this rolling style that makes bluegrass music what it is. Now, before Earl, there were some people out there playing with 2 fingers and kind of a back and forth motion. But Earl came along and he put picks on the 3rd finger, which was really kind of wild. And he started using this rolling style to create a very bluegrass sound, and that allowed him to play the banjo fast enough to keep up with Bill Monroe's quick chopping mandolin. So I'll give you sort of a quick example of some Earl Scruggs there. Yeah, so that's kind of Earl Scruggs.
Similar to the mandolin and the banjo at this point, there was another man that came along that was very influential, but his influence came mainly on the guitar. At this point, there was definitely a high bar set as far as American bluegrass music was concerned, because now it is a very particular type of music that has been the term bluegrass has been coined by Bill Monroe, the father of modern bluegrass. Before I get into the man that did that, how many of you guys are familiar with country music or country western music? By show of hands, have you heard country? Okay, so some of you guys have, and I imagine more than raised their hand probably know it. So there's some really distinctive types of, in the workshops that we've done, a lot of people are familiar with country western. They're not so much familiar with bluegrass, even though bluegrass music in America technically outdates the country western. But how many of you guys are familiar with reggae music? By show of hands. A lot more people kind of know reggae? Yeah. So what I'm going to do is just show you on the guitar the similarities in terms of rhythm guitar playing from country western to bluegrass to reggae. So that'll be the first one I do is country western style, the second one will be a bluegrass, and the third one will be reggae. And I think you'll be able to hear the similarities in the rhythmic structure of the guitar. So country western would sound something like this. Bluegrass would sound more like this. And then reggae would sound something like this. So you can hear it's very similar. Very similar types of guitar playing, all based on the rhythmic section of the music, trying to keep a very, very robust rhythm. However, that at the point when Bill Monroe came along, Earl Scruggs came along and started doing a lot of fancy things, the guitar was like, okay, we're super left out here. We're kind of bored just playing these rhythms. So a man by the name of Doc Watson came along, and modern bluegrass music was taking shape. It was a big deal at this point. And Doc Watson was blind, yet he was very proficient on the guitar. And he took a lot of the melodies that we've been talking about that came from Scotland and Ireland and Britain that were typically played on the fiddle. That idea, that very melodic playing, and started introducing some of those melodic lines into the rhythm playing of the guitar. So now it was no longer just when he would start to introduce some of those melodic lines in between the chord changes and throughout the rhythm, as well as transpose and adapt some of those melodies so that those melodies were played on the guitar, as Ben and I did together during the Big Scioto tune. So an example of that would be something kind of like this. Something like that. So you could hear those kind of lines moving in and out of the melody, or moving in and out of the rhythm. And then he would also use a lot of that basic structure of melody lines to do some improvised soloing or play those melodies as well.
So we're gonna put all this together.